Hello, and you're listening to the Tiny Vet Podcast with me, Dr. Nicole Sue, veterinarian, and my fiance.
Comedian Jez Watts. This is the fourth we're doing in a batch, and I don't have a fourth funny thing to say.
Oh, good.
So, if you're in Sydney, Newcastle, Tasmania, or Perth, I'm touring with shows, and also Queensland as well. So go to jezwatts.com to please buy tickets to things so that I can pay my full rent.
You also need to get a job.
Yes. I'm also applying for regular work, but I heard a very good joke. I heard a very good joke when I was in Brisbane. Very funny comedian there, Peter James. He said, "I've gone full time in comedy," and then the crowd claps, and he goes, "Which means I only work 2 days as a labourer."
Yeah,
which is basically full time in Australia. It's a hard industry.
You have to, man.
No, absolutely. I got away with it for 4 or 5 years.
And look what happened.
I got way funnier.
I wouldn't
anyway,
say you got away with it.
What are we talking about today, my love? Apart from my poverty and the problems that creates for you.
How to feed your horse appropriately. And you feed them on the desiccated corpses of your broke fiancés. That's it. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do him a good job. I'm not in good shape. I'm not good feed.
Actually, no, it is because
he wants a high-fat content?
Well, yeah, that's actually one of the points to cover.
Okay, great, yeah.
So one is that you have to always prioritize forage, so hay or grass or something.
Hey, we're going to talk about... oh, wait, never mind. Sorry. I just remembered somebody posted on the Facebook page or whatever for the podcast, but hey, we'll talk about this topic, and I said, yeah, we'll talk about that topic, and then I remember we already have talked about the topic.
It's a barefoot tree.
And that's going to come out now, like 3 weeks before this one.
Cool.
This whole interjection is
Great.
a huge waste of time.
Fantastic.
Please go back into what you're talking about. I'm really sorry.
So number one for your horse is always prioritize forage.
Okay, yeah.
So hay, which is very important for their gut health, but also...
Wait, hay is forage? I thought cropping at the grass is forage.
Same.
Ah, okay.
Same. It all goes into the same kind of category.
Yep,
Fiber.
okay.
Yeah. And that should always be number one. So that also should be number one if you're going, oh, I need to increase this diet. Can you increase the forage in any way?
Yep.
A lot of times that's quite easy because instead of feeding, a grass or a cereal hay, you can feed lucerne hay or another legume hay, which is higher in protein and calcium and calories, and they love it.
Right, okay.
As well.
Yep.
So that's an easy way to increase that. And I know that a lot of people, they automatically reach for, more higher powered feeds.
Higher powered?
Yeah, so like muesli mixes or, more concentrates.
Like oats?
Yeah, something like that. Rocky does not get oats. I think I'd die.
He's full of too many beans as it is.
Yeah, too many. And that's exactly it. It gives them too many beans. And the thing is, the amount of beans that you provide your horse...
Is this a technical term?
Yes.
You're saying it as if it is.
Beans, yeah. Needs to be equivalent to the amount of beans that he has to exert.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So if you work your horse really hard,
yeah,
maybe denser food is appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, racehorse food is crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I don't even want Rocky to, look at that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's because they're athletes and they're in what I call heavy
What
work.
happens if you give a horse Red Bull? Does it die? Does it...
I don't think it's good for them.
I think that's the origin of Pegasus.
I don't think that's
It gives
the
them
origin.
wings! All right, go on.
I don't think that's the
Don't give a horse Red Bull or very high calorie things.
Yeah. So and in terms of calories of fat-based energy, is a lot better to add than carbohydrate energy.
Oh, why?
Because it's metabolized differently.
Okay.
So what we see is cool feeds. So feeds that don't rev them up, that don't make them too full of beans. Usually they're based on some sort of fat. So a rice bran.
So fat calories for horses are lower GI kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So if
that's really
in the winter, for example, when I just add a little bit of condition for Rocky, he has pasture and he always has grass hay available. I add a bit of flaxseed oil.
Yeah, okay,
to
right.
his food. And that just helps him maintain his weight, maintain his top line, and makes him shiny.
Makes him shiny, sure. He's a very handsome horse.
He is a good looking boy. So that's usually what I say. If you've done your forage stuff and you still want to add some other stuff on top of it, then probably add either a cool feed or a fat energy source.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than a muesli. also, even though forage is good, to keep an eye on grass. So I fell off Rocky at Outriders the other day, and it's because he just didn't have a brain at that point. And one of the things that I thought, I was like, oh, actually we are having a lot of spring grass coming through now,
Right.
and spring grass is often very high in sugar.
Yeah, okay.
So it's something to keep an eye on as well, because it can lead to these behavioral changes, but also for horses that are prone to obesity or are prone to laminitis, that can actually be quite bad in terms of health.
Sorry, laminitis? What's that?
That's when their feet get inflamed, and it's very bad.
Yeah,
Because it
okay.
can lead to permanent changes and permanent deformities of their feet.
Yeah, right.
And they don't really lie down. They can, but they're not supposed to spend long periods lying down. So horse laminitis is just constantly having to stand on those
inflamed feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, something to keep an eye on, especially when the weather is starting to change. It is now. It's getting warmer. It's getting very wet.
Okay.
And really, it is balancing the amount of work your horse is doing with what you're putting in. So like horses that are ridden lightly, 2 or 3 hours a week, you probably only need to feed them hay and maybe a bit of lucerne and a feed balancer.
Right.
And I really like feed balancers because it makes sure that they get all the vitamins, minerals, essential amino acids, everything like that.
What's a feed balancer?
I'm about to explain it.
All right. Sorry. Yeah.
It's a pellet essentially that contains their whatever vitamins, minerals, essential amino acids, and everything in a very small volume.
Right.
So it doesn't really provide a lot of calories, but it provides them with its essential stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So if the horse is not in much work at all, then I say, to be honest, just add a feed balancer and see how they go.
Yeah. Right.
And I really like things that are low dose. There's some really good ones. I really like KER Gold pellet. Love it because it includes the amino acids as well. Not a lot of them do. And the amino acids are really important for building muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And and a lot of people, especially when they're new horse owners, you want to feed them the fancy stuff, the one with the pretty dressage horse.
Well, I'd imagine most horse owners have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so it's like money is no object. You might as well get the best thing, and you assume the best thing is the most expensive thing.
But it's not really the best thing. It's the best feed for your horse.
Yeah, sure.
So, if you're trail riding 2 or 3 times a week on fairly flat ground, you trot a little or something like that. They really don't need very much.
And if you give them, stuff that's too calorie dense and stuff, is it more that they're going to get fat, or is it more that they're going to be too amped up and hurt you?
Both.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so a really common thing is a new horse owner, they test ride this horse, they love the horse, fantastic, they come home, and they put them on a more high calorie, a more fizzy feed.
Yeah. Here's a bunch of Twix.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, the horse starts acting up. But part of that also is because, they're probably letting the horse get away with more things than an experienced trainer would.
Yeah,
and then you start to run into problems. And then the people go on the internet and go, oh, this trainer sold me, it must have been drugged or something. But actually, that's not the case. And it's, the change of feed and the change of discipline or handling and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess, it's like with many things, it's like consistency, right?
It's good for them, consistency.
Yeah, because I went out to visit Rocky with you the other day, and it seems like that thing of really training habit is such a big part of horses.
I tack him up the same way every time. I stand him in the same way. I catch him in the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is.
And so that's true for feed as well, then.
True for feed as well. But also, a sensible feed for a horse that doesn't work very hard looks really boring to us. And, we're visual animals, so, we want something with lots of color and lots of variety in it.
Sure.
And that may not be the best thing for them. It's like Rocky, and he works fairly hard, I'd say. He's worked 3 to 4 days a week. And it's a solid hour of heavy work. By the end, he's tired, he's breathing hard. I really make him use his...
Yeah, the photo of him today,
he's very sad.
Exhausted. He looked very upset.
Yeah, and...
Which I was glad about, because he threw yesterday.
Well, yeah, but all he gets, so he gets a lucerne-based pellet. And a little bit of, and when I say a little bit, it's probably a cup to 2 cups of, a hemp seed pellet. In the winter, he gets a bit of flaxseed oil on top of that and a bit of a feed balancer, and that's all he gets.
Right.
And that is actually all he needs. And he is in probably harder work than, some, trail riding horses.
Yeah, sure.
And all of that. I do keep in mind that he's a standardbred, so also he maintains condition quite well. A thoroughbred's probably going to need a little bit more of that, but to be honest, not that much more.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, it's like with dogs as well, I guess. People want to feed him all sorts of things, and the thing becomes a balloon. And they're like, why is he a balloon? I'm like, that's what he eats, man.
Listen, I just want to say, I don't know if you've heard about the concept of glass houses and what
Hey.
you do to rabbits and every other animal that comes into this household, but you turn every animal we've ever met into a balloon.
No.
The only, Rocky is only different because you're working him out of... You're compressing the balloon with the amount of work you put him through. I don't
think the buns are that fat.
No, because I constantly have to interject and be like,
no,
hey, no.
You're not even awake when I feed them in the mornings.
No, I go and steal some of the food you give them and throw it away.
That's not very nice. The buns are not fat.
No.
They're fine.
One of them's getting huge.
No! The Tiny Vet Podcast is brought to you by Upilio. Sources for our topics can be found at upilio.io. Outro music by Matt Charleston.